Hi everyone, my name's Diane and I'm a high school English teacher. I've been watching a lot of booktube videos here on YouTube and I've just been totally inspired by the reading community that's here. So I wanted to take a whack at it, and these are a few of the books that I've gotten recently. Last week was my birthday, so I took the opportunity to get a few of the 1-cent bargain books on Amazon. So with shipping it was like $4 each, which I find pretty amazing. So I wanted to share with you just what's on my to-read list. So the first book I got is The Hangman's Daughter, and it is by Oliver Poach, and it's one of my stepmom's favorite books, so I really wanted to give it a shot. It's a historical novel, and I absolutely love those, so I'm really curious to see. It's supposed to be a bit tragic and a lot of drama, so I'm really curious to see what happens to the characters and a lot of social class issues, what a woman is worth based on her father's profession. So I'm really excited to read this. The next book that I got is the Book of Night Women. Ooh, sorry about the glare. And that is by Marlon James. And I remember this being popular when it first came out. And it's supposed to be this epic novel, a really involved story of Lilith, born into slavery on a Jamaican sugar plantation at the end of the 18th century. Even at her birth, the slave women around her recognize a dark power that they and she will come to both revere and fear. So a little bit of magic, a little bit of history, right up my alley. I'm looking forward to it. I also went to the bookstore. I had, again, a little bit of birthday money. So I picked up a young adult novel called Kissing Shakespeare. And that's by Pamela Mingle. And I don't know anything about it except what I read on the back. But it sounds interesting, and of course, English teacher, anything involving Shakespeare, I generally love. The girl who's the main character is a high school student, and she's in a staging of Taming of the Shrew. Her last name is Shakespeare, but she ends up having to go back in time to meet Shakespeare. She has to help him be inspired to write his famous plays. So we'll see how that goes. Another book I got, this one's also from Amazon, is a historical kind of research book on Santa Muerte. It's called Devoted to Death. I just think it's really interesting. I was raised Catholic, and it's all about the cult of Santa Muerte, who is the skeleton saint, and she's revered, especially in Mexico. We see a little bit of the imagery during Day of the Dead and Halloween. But it says, R. Andrew Chestnut offers a fascinating portrayal of Santa Muerte, a skeleton saint whose cult has attracted millions of devotees over the past decade. Although condemned by mainstream churches, this folk saint's supernatural powers appeal to millions of Latin Americans and immigrants in the U.S. So I'm really curious to see how that goes. I think that we have such a popular culture around death. I'm curious to see how faith gets involved. So, another book I bought. Okay, these two were full price except for my educator discount. This one is Mrs. Poe, and that is by Lynn Cullen. And again, I just saw it on the stacks, but it sounds amazing. It says, inspired by literature's most haunting love triangle, award-winning author Lynn Cullen delivers a pitch-perfect rendering of Edgar Allan Poe, his mistress's tantalizing confession, and his wife's frightening obsession. And of course, most literature buffs have this loving fascination with Edgar Allan Poe, so I just think this is going to be a terrific novel, and I can't wait to hear more about the women in this famous author's life. I also got Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. Now, this was really popular when it came out, and I haven't really read much about it. I don't know a whole lot about the story, but anything that has such fascinating illustrations, well, photographs in it, I think is going to be really cool. The photographs remind me of Diane Arbus, and I'm kind of obsessed with her. So I'm curious to see how the novel itself wraps around these photographs. So let's see. What I'm reading right now, though, is a book I've been really looking forward to. I ordered it again for my birthday, and this is Crackin by China Miéville. Now, Miéville, it's been a national bestseller. A lot of his books have, but I've never heard anything about him from any other readers, which I find kind of surprising. But if you haven't read the young adult novel Unlundun, Unlundun, definitely look it up, especially if you're a young adult novel person or a fantasy person, because it's so involved, even for a young adult novel. Not that young adult novels aren't involved, because they are, but there's so much detail in it that you can completely lose yourself. Crackin is the same way, but it gets really, really complex. One of the characters, his name is Wati, and he's basically the spirit of, if you remember in ancient Egypt or in imperial Japanese culture, when a ruler or important person was buried, there were carved statues or servants, little figurines put into the tomb to serve this important person in the afterlife. Well, Wati is one of those spirits that rebelled. And he kind of represents all of the familiars in modern day London. So it's really cool, very interesting, and it's kind of long. I'm almost done it, but it definitely pulls you in. There's so much tie-in between past and current pop culture. It really makes you think. So I'm enjoying it a lot, and again, it's Crackin, so if you haven't looked it up, do. And I was kind of inspired to pick it up because of A Game of Thrones and House Greyjoy and those Krackens. And the mythos of the Kraken is actually kind of similar across genres. So anyway, I'm really enjoying it. Thanks for taking the time to watch my video, and I hope to get some feedback from you. If the video quality is pretty terrible, if you would let me know in the comments. I'm not sure if this is the camera I'm going to use. And any book suggestions are obviously very, very welcome. And I'll talk to you guys again soon. Bye.